Hello, welcome to A Watchman's Journal. I'm Diana Larkin. I'm really happy to be with you again this week to be going over the prophetic words that I heard in my journal from the Father last week. This episode is entitled, Split Open the Heavens. There's some exciting words for us to look at from this past week. Also some words to help prepare our hearts for what is coming. Let's dive in. On September 14th of 2022, I heard, "My eye is on the trumpet." The Father is really kind to be using code words here so that I don't get into trouble. So you just add the word for yourself, okay? "The darkness has targeted the one I have chosen and anointed to rebuild your nation on the principles of my justice and righteousness, and to make your nation a force of greatness in the world. Yes, you will be prospered and bring forth good fruit, but it will not just be for you. It will be so that you can bless the world with your abundance. My trumpet will be a father to the nations and will teach leaders to be strong in me and to build their nations on my principles and to serve their people and not think that they should be served and be made wealthy from the people. This is a mighty call I have placed on the trumpet's life, and he will need your prayer support to accomplish it. Now do you see why the darkness is so determined to kill him or to bring him down with fabricated evidence and outright lies? Don't fear if it looks like they're closing in on him. Realize this is part of the trap I laid that will result in their downfall. The world will see that everything they accused my trumpet of were crimes they committed. The world will be angry at how they were duped by these arrogant ones, and the people will demand judgment and justice be released to them, or against them. Everything they planned for my trumpet will fall on them. These proud Hamans will hang on their own gallows. So do not fear. My eye is on the trumpet." In this word about the trumpet, the Father says he will be a father to the nations. Wow, I mean, that is profound. And why would that not be the Father's heart? He is a father. He has a heart for the nations, and he has given this man, this trumpet, a heart for the nations as well, to disciple young leaders, older leaders, anybody, any leader, so that they can build their nations on the strong principles of the kingdom and learn to serve their people instead of expecting to be served and to get wealthy from the people. He also encourages us that we are not to fear if it looks like they're closing in on this trumpet. It's part of the trap he's laid. We're going to see their downfall. What they accused the trumpet of were crimes they committed, and they're going to be caught. We have a journal nugget from September 14th of 2021 called Mountain Mover. I have the power to make a mountain. I have the power to move mountains. Not only can I move mountains, I can bring them completely down to a pile of rubble. Do you have some mountains that need moving or bringing down? How about the mountain of worry and anxiety about the future, your finances, your freedoms? Are there mountains of lies that were built by the enemy, and they now separate you from those who have trusted the lies? Is there a mountain of tyranny and illegitimate authority in the way of you and your nation pursuing life, liberty, and the pursuit of the goodness of life? I am the ultimate mountain mover. Nothing can stand in my way. Come, my warriors. Come, my sons and daughters. Stand shoulder to shoulder with me, as together we command these mountains to come down in the name of my Son, Jesus, and in the authority of the blood covenant he established through the cross and the resurrection. No more looking at the mountains as overwhelming or allowing fear to move you. You move the mountains and release my government and my truth and my blessing in your lives and in your nation. Matthew 17, verse 20. Because you're not yet taking God seriously, said Jesus. The simple truth is that if you had a mere kernel of faith, a poppy seed, say, you would tell this mountain, move, and it would move. There is nothing you wouldn't be able to tackle. We must realize our authority in Jesus. He mentioned in that word that the lies have actually separated us from people we love, care about, friends, family, because they've not been able to see the truth yet. And that can be frustrating and sad to us, but he's promised he's going to restore that and that everyone will see the truth. So meanwhile, we learn to love well in the midst of that. September 15th of 2022, hope and life. The most important thing you have to hang on to in these last days of fierce warfare is your hope in me and my promises, and to know deep in your soul that I am the God of life, and I am restoring your life and the life of your nation. America shall live, she shall not die. Even if circumstances seem to scream the opposite, do not buy into the appearance that this is the final destruction of your nation. There are things that do need to die and be done away with because they're founded on greed and lies. Let those things go and believe that I will raise up something greater in its place. Your hope cannot be in anything but my promises and my power. Only I can breathe new life into a nation and resurrect it from death the darkness tried to bring. I will use my sons and daughters, my army of light, to help defeat the darkness and to speak life into your land. I will use the military and men and women raised up to be leaders all across the 7 mountains of society to restore law and order, justice and righteousness. These are great days of hope and new. Now, there are great days of hope and new life ahead. Bind hope and life to your hearts so that discouragement and fear have no access to your heart. I am the all-powerful Yahweh, and I am the God of hope and life. Ah, that's beautiful. Only he can breathe the new life of resurrection and restore something from death. But he's invited us to partner with him. We're to do that. We are to realize great days of hope and new life are ahead, and we're to bind hope and life to our hearts because it will protect us from discouragement, fear, and just being separated from the Father in that. I have a journal nugget from September 15th, 2021. It was a dream and a message from the Father. So this was the dream. It was very simple. And actually I had this dream at 2:22 in the nighttime, and that caught my attention. I watched as the Father flipped the script on what was said about DJT and number 46. DJT became the one with the victory. Simple interpretation, there will be a sudden revealing of which script has been speaking the truth. Victory will be given to the rightful one. Wow, that was a good dream. The Father says, hold on and hold out. I'm giving you encouraging dreams about the near future to help you hold on and not waver in this extended warfare season. I'm giving you spiritual intelligence so that you will be able to see that the many seeming victories the enemy is touting are a smokescreen for their precarious positions that are about to topple. Hold on, my people. You will see the script flipped very suddenly by my hand. Then I want you to hold out for a complete victory and cleanup of the darkness until my judgments have been completed and I have once again established justice and righteousness in your land. And because I had the dream at 2:22, I looked up scriptures with that address. And Daniel 22:2 says this, it is he who reveals the profound and hidden things. He knows what is in the darkness, and the light dwells with him. Ah, love that. And you do notice that he mentions He was giving me dreams about the near future. So that was a year ago. So that tells you something about his timing isn't exactly ours, but his is the best, perfect. September 16th of 2022. This could be a difficult word for some to hear, but it is so important, and it is where life is found and hope is found. Eyes to see, ears to hear. You're very blessed if you've chosen to align your heart with my heart and my purposes for this season. You're blessed if you've been willing to lay down your preconceived ideas given to you by men who reason with human reasoning and not spirit-led wisdom and insights found in my word and in the voice of the prophets. These men may mean well, but they close themselves off from my now word of revelation. They don't have eyes to see and ears to hear, so that they would know the season we are in. These ones have falsely prepared my people to hunker down, to expect my wrath to wipe away America, and that my son is returning to snatch them out of this mess. My son's return is not imminent, and your best days are ahead of you, both in the natural and the spiritual. Those who hunker down and wait for the horrible end, they're missing out on my power to save, heal, and deliver people and nations. For those with eyes to see what I'm doing in this season, who have ears to hear my voice, you know that my wrath is coming to those of darkened hearts who want to destroy your nation and completely captivate you. If a system, a church, a corporation, a monument falls, you will know it is because it has roots in darkness and it must be cleared away for the master builder to rebuild on righteous foundations. I have chosen a master builder for your nation who has increasingly learned my ways. Join with me, join with him, and let's rebuild together. I need you in my army of light, fighting on the front lines and not hiding out because you believed a false religious narrative. Blessed are those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. So it's important that we discern what season we are in. Since I became a believer in 1975, there has been a huge overemphasis on the return of Jesus. Yes, we are to look for it, long for it, but it is not to be the focus of what we do with our lives. It caused the church to go in, slam the doors, leave the 7 mountains of society, and we are in the place we are today because of that false narrative that was spread in the church, and it still has a huge ground today that many believers have fallen into the trap of thinking America's doomed, we're going to be rescued. Yeah, we're going to be rescued, but we're going to be rescued to reign. And really, the bottom line is it doesn't matter if Jesus comes tomorrow or if he comes in 100 years, our assignment remains the same. We are the light of the world. We are the salt of the earth. In other words, what preserves. We are called to be his hands, his feet. We are called to bring the kingdom because we're his sons and daughters. We're called to occupy until he comes. Doesn't matter when or where that happens. We are to be battling victoriously, not hiding out in a hidey hole somewhere, surrounded by our Patriot supply. I mean, it's fine for you to do what the Holy Spirit recommends to you to do, but our focus cannot be on that. It's got to be on living, taking the ground, partnering with the Father. All right, let's move on to September 17th of 2022. Understand my judgments. Now, this could also be a very difficult word for some, especially those who have a high mercy call on their life. God's judgments are very difficult for them. But I want you to hear his heart in this, and I think it'll help you align your heart with his. I want to prepare your hearts for this season of judgment that's coming on the earth. This is not the final judgment that will be released at the end of time, but it is one of my appointed seasons of judgment and justice, because I've heard the cries of my people who have suffered loss and great injustice. My judgments tip the scales of judgment back into balance so that righteousness can once again be established in a nation. My judgments will shock some of you who have been taught that I only show mercy and kindness and that I no longer punish the wicked. You must understand that even my harsh judgments are an extension of my kindness, because for some it will be the only thing that saves them from eternal separation from me. It is my desire that you align your heart with mine in this season of judgment, and that you trust my ways that are above your ways. Do not find yourself actually opposing me by trying to give unsanctified mercy. That is extending mercy to what, in my wisdom, I am judging. Trust me like you've never trusted me before, and you will see my judgments bring about great good. So I want you to understand his judgments accomplish good things. They're going to tip those scales of justice back into balance. And for some it will be, when they lose everything, face what they actually are reaping, it will actually bring them into the kingdom and they won't be eternally separated. Not everyone will make that choice, sadly, but this is one of his final moves before a person chooses themselves to go and be separated from the Father forever. We've got to realize that his heart is much greater than our heart. His love and mercy far, 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 galaxies beyond what we have. So if he's at the point of judgment, it is because he has exhausted all other routes, and for the good of the righteous and those who are praying, he will now release his judgment. So be at peace, people. Psalm 48:11. Let's look at a few verses about how God views this. Let Zion be glad. Let the daughters of Judah rejoice because of your righteous judgments. We are to actually rejoice over his judgments because they establish righteousness. Psalm 97:8. Zion hears and is glad, and the daughters of Judah rejoice because of your judgments, O Lord. Psalm 58, verse 10. The righteous will rejoice when he sees the vengeance of God. He will wash his feet in the blood of the wicked. Now that might sound really heavy to some of you, but we've got to align our hearts with God's heart. The wickedness that has been perpetrated, the things done to children, we will rejoice when his vengeance comes in and removes that from our land. Let's move on to a journal nugget called The Open Door. It's from September 17th of 2021. When I show up in the affairs of your nation, everything that is not of me will be shaken, exposed, and brought down. It will be a season of terror and loss for those who serve darkness. For those people on the fence who have not yet known what voices to believe, it'll be a season of great uncertainty, and they're going to be looking for voices of truth. My army of light, for you, my beloved remnant, this will be a season of open doors. While others experience loss and panic, I will provide for you doors of opportunity into greater provision and amazing new ideas that will be built on my righteousness and goodness. Do not fear when the shakings come. Look around you, and you will find an open door to walk through into my destiny for you and for your resurrected nation. I will not leave you to flounder in this season of uncertainty. Believe this. Take courage, because then you will hear my voice directing you, and you will not miss the open doors I place before you. So I am telling you, in this season of shaking, when things are falling, and you get the prompting to start a new business, to entrepreneur something, go for it. It's an open door. God's going to give you favor, provision from the kingdom of heaven. September 18th of 2022, we hear strong and mighty. He's saying that about us. I need you to see yourself like I see you. These fierce days of battle have been the most challenging days of your life. Amen. As you face giants of great power who use their weapons of darkness against you, fear, despair, hopelessness, intimidation, to disarm you and to discourage you and to cause you to leave the battle. But you have strengthened yourself in me, and you are still standing, you are still believing, and you are still fighting. I see you as strong and mighty, like David's mighty men, a small, well-trained force who will listen to my commands and obey. You've also been trained as special ops. You go behind enemy lines and plunder and expose the camp and the plans of the enemy. Because there's so much noise and distraction in this war, you may not realize how much ground you have taken from the enemy, and that because you've weakened them, the tide of battle will soon completely turn in favor of the righteous. You'll see the darkness in great fear, intimidated, desperate, their illegitimate power stripped from them. You're no longer just holding on tightly so that all your freedoms aren't torn from you. You're now advancing into the enemy's stolen territory, and you're taking back the land of freedom, hope, and liberty. You are my strong and mighty ones. Good to know. September 19th of 2022, a very encouraging word. A whole new world. You and your nation are on the precipice of a whole new world. No time to be distracted by misgivings, doubt, or fear porn. I want you to focus on my eyes of flame and my sure words of promise to you. Realize how bold and brave you have become as my army of light. Use the sword in your mouth of truth and light to drive back the darkness into the trap I laid for them, and to defeat all their evil schemes of destruction. The roar of the Lion of Judah is building, and when it is released, I want you to roar with him. These roars will release a sound wave, a frequency that splits the darkness and shatters it into a million pieces to be trampled underfoot by my army of light. As they march in to take back your land in the name of my Son, once again your nation will be established on righteousness and justice. And it will be greater and more far-reaching than it was when your nation was founded. Face the coming storm fearlessly and march through it with the power of my Spirit propelling you forward. Feel his hand on your back, releasing his power and fire into you. Suddenly, the storm will end, revealing a whole new world. Journal nugget from September 20th of 2021. I went to post this on Twitter, and it's called The Rainbow of God last night. And there were already some rainbow pictures posted, and after I posted it, then more began appearing. He's so good to be giving us these signs. He says, you're my covenant people, sealed in the blood of the eternal covenant between the Father and the Son, most powerful, everlasting covenant ever established. But you're also under the covenant of the rainbow, established with Noah, that I am a faithful and just God who keeps his promises and whose heart is to bless and bring life in all its fullness. Around my throne is a rainbow, reflecting my many-colored glory and power. That rainbow is about to engulf your nation. It will bring glory, judgment, promises, and verdicts, healing and punishment. Do you see the contrast? Glory, glory, judgment, promises, verdicts, healing, punishment. I'm not just coming to visit. I'm coming to take over where thrones of iniquity have long ruled. They will fall, crumble, and be swept away. It is your prayers and your partnership with me that have made a highway for my presence to come. Well done. Here comes the rainbow. Before we finish with our final entry, which actually is the entry of this episode, we're going to review how we can partner with the Father in bringing about these words of great promise. We're to provide prayer support for the trumpet that God has raised up for this day. We're to stand with the Father and, in the authority of Jesus, command illegitimate mountains to come down. We're to bind hope and life to our hearts, defeat the darkness, and speak life into our land. We're to hold on to hope, hold out for complete victory and cleanup of our nation. We're to align our hearts with His in this season of judgment, trust His heart, and do not give unsanctified mercy. Do not fear the shakings, but look for the open doors He puts before you. Do not be distracted by doubts, misgivings, or fear porn. We're to focus on His eyes of flame and His sure words of promise. Realize how bold and brave you have become. Use your sword of truth and light. Drive back the darkness into the trap and to defeat their evil schemes. When the lion roars, roar with him. Face the storm fearlessly. March in the power and fire of the Spirit, taking back your land. So September 20th of this year, split open the heavens. And I actually kept hearing that song that they sing at Lord of Hosts Church as I was waiting on the Father. You know, what's on your heart, Father? And I suddenly realized, oh, that's what's on your heart. He said, crack. You will hear it in the natural and in the supernatural when the lion's roar splits open the heavens. This is not my son's final appearing, but it is a foretaste of that day. This appearing will be a forceful entry of the power and devouring fire of the kingdom of heaven come to earth, to defeat the schemes of darkness and to restore freedom, justice, and righteousness to your land, and to all those nations where my people have lifted their voices and cried out to me for deliverance. It will be a day of great shock to those in the church who are still asleep. It will be a day of terror to those partnered with darkness, and their inner parts will melt as they shake and tremble in the presence of the Lion of Judah, as he reveals who they really are and what they have done. For my army of light, it will be a day of sweet vindication of all they have been believing and fighting for. You will rejoice in my judgments and in my power. Oh, what a day when the lion roars and splits open the heavens. Thank you, Father, and thank you for joining me.